Hi everyone. Today I am very happy to be able to present my work on the research work titled "The Digital Literacies in Online Tools for Virtual Exchange." I am Gan Hong-Seng from the Malaysia Alumni of Sakura Science Association. So for this project, basically we focus on the use of um, online tools in the virtual exchange, because we know that people were more keen on the physical interaction before the COVID-19 pandemic, as this is the more comfortable way of socializing around the society, while the online tools such as the Google Meet, the Tencent, and Zoom were largely available even before the pandemic. Their usage were not so widespread and not so common within the population. In the academia, the trend of remote working has taken place as well. Teachers and the students were required to conduct the online class during the pandemic. And meanwhile, in the research exchange domain, the virtual exchange has caught the attention of researchers given the travel restrictions has rendered traditional uh, physical exchange program impossible to be carried out. So the arrival of the pandemic itself is basically a permanent change, not just to the academia, but also to all the activities that is related to the research exchange domain. So during the virtual exchange, participants were required, and actually they have to use the online meeting platform in order to connect to their host researchers in other countries, in order for them to perform the collaborations, the discussions, and knowledge sharing. Literally, the benefits of the virtual exchange are we can avoid a lot of concerns, such as the health concerns, while if we are just interacting through the online tools, then there is no risk of being infected by the COVID. And there are other more physical concerns, such as the geographical concerns, in which the participant would not need to travel to other countries, so they can save a lot of times on the traveling, and other like the commitment concerns, such as um, taking care of their families and others. So basically, these are the benefits of the virtual exchange. So what is a virtual exchange? Virtual exchange is defined as the engagement of group of learners in an online intercultural interactions and collaboration projects with partners from other cultural contexts or geographical locations as an integrated part of their educational programs. So retrospectively, the virtual exchange has existed long even before the pandemic happens. Well, most of these exchange programs could be divided into several categories, such as the bicultural exchange, the e-tandem model, and the tele-collaborative models of the virtual exchange. Some studies have been performed on this pre-COVID-19 usage of the online tools, but most of these studies have their own focus of area, as the adopted rate of the online tools and the virtual exchange were not their primary interest of study. So one example is that some studies they would focus on the synchronous communication technology for language using, the development of the digital literacy, and the multi-literacy skills in across institutional exchanges. Well, what makes our study different from the previous studies were, although the post-COVID-19 era has seen some focus on the experience of online learning, which is important for the development of future digitalization, more investigations need to be done in terms of understanding the exposure, experiment, experience, and digital skill perception after the population, especially the academia, has endured the pandemic. So, in this study, we have conducted a survey by distributing the question A to the Malaysian academia. In this survey, the perception of using the online tools among the Malaysian academia were obtained. Then, we investigated the role of online tools in post-COVID-19 era. This questionnaire consisted of 4 sections. The first one is the demographic of the respondent. The second is the perception of using the online tools in the virtual exchange. The third is the role of exchange program in promoting the research and culture learning. And the fourth is the conclusion. In this work, we have recruited a total of 100 respondents with the age between 22 to 46 years old, where 57.6% were females and 42.4% were male. Meanwhile, majority of the respondents were undergrads, which make up of 39.4%, followed by the master degree holder, 33.3%, and lastly, the PhD holder, 27.3%. In this survey, we adopted a 5 points Likert skill ranging from strongly disagree, which the respondent will have to put 1, to strongly agree, which the respondent will have to denote 5. Descriptive statistics such as the mean and standard deviation were used during our analysis. Figure 1 shows the perception of using the online tools in the virtual exchange program before and after the COVID in terms of exposure, experience, and skill. So based on the result, we find that despite the online tools are common long before the pandemics, Malaysian academia has relatively low level of exposure to the online tools. Accordingly, only 20% of the respondents has strongly indicated a good level of exposure to using the online tools. 26% of the respondents strongly indicated a good level of experience in using the online tools, and 23% of the respondents strongly indicated a good level of digital skills in using the online tools before the pandemic. The low level of exposure, experience, and digital skills suggested that Malaysian academia was more used to physical face-to-face interaction for their research or academic events. However, the trend saw a sharp reverse after the pandemic. The good level of exposure, experience, and digital skills in using online tools increased further to 58%, 56%, and 56% respectively. The improvements were very obvious and significant. So apparently, the pandemic has prompted the public to acquire digital skills for communication during the lockdown. The researchers were also required to get familiar with these online tools to discuss collaborative projects and conduct meetings. The situation helps the researcher to adopt to the new trend and realize the benefit in using the online tools. The second The second figure shows the role of online tools, the role of online exchange program, which is the virtual exchange, in promoting the cultural understanding, which is at the top row, and the bottom, which is the knowledge transfer. So in this investigation, basically we are investigating the role of online exchange program in promoting both the cultural and the academic, if the academic aspect. The aspect of cultural understanding is further divided into the promotion of Japanese culture understanding, Japanese language, and Japanese social value. Meanwhile, academically, the aspect of knowledge transfer is divided into knowledge dissemination, skill, research skills sharing, and international networking. Based on the findings, 57% of the respondents indicated strongly agreed that online tools were useful in promoting the Japanese culture understanding during the virtual exchange. Meanwhile, 39% of them indicated strongly agreed that online tools are useful in promoting the Japanese language during the virtual exchange, while 39% of the respondents indicated strongly agreed that online tools are useful in promoting the social value during the virtual exchange. The moderate level of indications implied that the Malaysian academia remained hesitated whether online tools can be effectively applied as a tool of promoting the cultural understanding in the near future. Similar trends were observed in the role of online tools to promote the knowledge sharing. For instance, 45% of the Malaysian respondents indicated strongly agreed to the perception that online tools are useful in knowledge dissemination. 31% of the Malaysian respondents has indicated strongly agreed to the perception that online tools are useful in research skills sharing, and 39% of them indicated strongly agreed to the perception that online tools are useful in consolidating the international networking. So, intriguingly, it seems like Malaysian academia remain unclear about the role of online tools, even though they have fully adopted to the use of these online tools throughout the pandemic period. So, in this work, we concluded that a study was conducted to investigate the exposure, experience, and skill of Malaysian academia in using the online tools before and after the pandemic. Then, the effectiveness of these online tools role were further investigated. Despite the strong increase in experience, exposure, and digital skill after the pandemic, it is still intriguing to find out that the effective role of online tools in promoting the cultural understanding and knowledge transfer during the virtual exchange, which were not assured. So this will require further investigation in the future study. Before we end the presentation, we would like to acknowledge the financial support provided by the Toshiba International Foundation, TIFO, in supporting this project. So thank you everyone for attending to this presentation. Thank you.